Oh, nerds for humanity. We have Peter, the MAGA Florida man, back in the nerd zone. And I have to say, the tables, I don't know if they've turned, but they've moved.
Yeah.
When you were last here, I think Biden had just dropped out, and I'm pretty sure we had picked Harris, right, at that point, or no?
It was early August, so I think you guys were about to coronate her. When was the DNC? Was mid or late August, right? Something like that, right?
Yeah.
So you guys were running on the sugar high of at least it's not Biden, and she
Yes.
was running on the sugar high of like she didn't know whether she would have to fend off Newsom or Whitmer or any other open convention. So she
Yeah.
was feeling very confident, and her focus at that point was just sealing the nomination.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It was in August, was when, like, mid to late August was when they had the convention. And we were getting that nice bump because who doesn't want to see Biden replaced? I mean, in fairness, even though it's very close now, I much prefer having Harris on our ticket than Joe Biden. Do you agree with that, or do you think Trump would have an easier time beating Harris than Biden?
No, I think Biden was the worst candidate, but I think like from Harris's point of view, if you were to step in her shoes, I mean, she was probably so excited to be at the top of the ticket as opposed to playing second fiddle on basically a ship with no captain,
Yeah.
right? So you got to put yourself in her perspective. Back in August, she was like, well, yeah, at least I'm off of this Biden train and I just need to secure this nomination. And to her credit, or to the Democrat Party apparatus credit, you guys
It's the
basically
Democratic Party. The Democratic Party.
okay, the Democratic Party,
Mhm.
your coup d'état was very, very successful. And so her confidence and
I don't
her
think
exuberance.
the coup d'état thing is such malarkey, because do you think Democrats wanted a chaotic open convention? Do you think we would have wanted that?
No, but that would have been the fair thing to do.
I think the fair thing to do is do what the party members want. And no party member would have wanted a circular firing squad on national television.
Well, you mean the party bosses? Let's just say the party bosses.
No. Even if you survey party members, I mean, I've been doing door knocking and phone banking for months now. I've talked to Democrats from Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia. I'm going to be
Who would have been a better candidate than
no one. No
Kamala?
one. You can't come up with. It's Kamala, by the way. It's Kamala.
Okay.
You could pronounce her name. It's not hard. You can't pick a better candidate than the sitting VP when the current candidate drops out 30 days before the convention. What crack are we smoking? Like, we were going to have a 30-day primary?
Okay, so let's quickly just jump to the current situation. Like, I mean, it's interesting that a lot of the pundits seem to have turned against Harris. I mean, the town halls, they've been tougher. The interview questions have been
I don't
I
think.
wouldn't
No,
even
I
say
think
it's
they.
tougher.
I don't think they turned on her. You're talking about Anderson Cooper. Like, they always give hard questions. I think the MAGA people are shocked that there's challenging questions. Like, 60 Minutes was not a softball interview.
I don't know why she's not able to answer those questions when it's the same damn questions. They're not even that challenging. What would you have done differently? And then why did you guys not seal down the border until 3.5 years ago? These are like, she knew these questions would come.
I mean, I asked myself the same thing. Like, why can't he answer, what is your healthcare plan? Why can't he answer, did you win or lose in 2020? Why can't he answer, how are you going to balance the budget with no income taxes? He can't answer it. But unfortunately, he didn't even show up for the 60 Minutes interview. He accepted it. And then was he exhausted? I don't know. He's old, right?
Well, anyhow, what do you think is happening? I'm watching today OAN, Newsmax, Fox,
What is
CNN,
it? Oh,
MSNBC,
OAN.
MSNBC, and it
Okay.
seems like it's gone back to the partisan. So basically, the left-sided media is saying that it's going to be a tight race, but it looks like Harris is going to win. The right-sided media say it's going to look like it's a tight race, but it looks like we're going to carry, the swing state. So it's
Well, this
whereas
is
I think a few days ago it seemed like the mood was more Republicans was going to win. So I don't know what the hell's going on.
Oh, that's so interesting. I'm so glad to hear because I don't watch OAN, but I do kind of browse Fox from time to time, and I don't watch Newsmax. So I'm glad you're able to give us a little update on what the sort of the zeitgeist is on the MAGA cinematic universe. So I'm encouraged that they're not saying it's going to be a landslide, because if they said it was going to be a landslide and he loses, people may draw the incorrect conclusion that, oh, somehow it was like stolen or something. So this is good that I think we're all acknowledging this is a photo finish race. Now, in terms of why has there been a shift? I think, and we'll have to have you back on after the election's over, but I think that there was a choice that Trump had to make for his closing argument. Do I play like the moderate, like when he went on the All In podcast, he really kind of did a snow job on some of the VCs who I respect a lot for investment, but not for politics. And they were all like, "Oh, he's so reasonable. He's such an even-keeled guy. People don't see this side of Donald Trump." So he could have brought more of that All In podcast version of himself out, but he didn't. Right? So he did the thing in Madison Square Garden, and they had all these people come on saying, "Oh, Harris is the Antichrist, and Puerto Ricans are garbage," and all this stuff.
That was
And
one comment by one comedian. Come on.
no, there was. Do you want me? I actually have it. What are you talking about?
It's one comment.
You think only
One
one
joke.
person said something crazy on that? No, there was like tons of people. Hold on. Let me play it for you. I don't know if did you watch it?
I watched the reporting of it. I didn't watch it.
All right, here you go. You tell me if it was one person.
Scream that out. Her and her pimp handlers will destroy our country. She is the Antichrist, the first Samoan Malaysian low IQ. I love you, Donald. I mean, what?
Illegals, they get whatever they want, don't they?
They're on the side of the terrorists. She is the devil, whoever screamed that out. Her and her pimp handlers.
Where's the Puerto Rican comments? I don't see anything.
Oh, I didn't even have the Puerto Rican comment because there's so many others. So my point is, let me just finish my point, then I'm glad to get your response.
Mm-hmm.
Your boy, Grandpa Donald, he could have pivoted towards the center for this last week and try and win over some of those Haley voters. Remember, 20% of the Republican primary voters voted against Donald Trump, and they voted for Nikki Haley. Number two, 65% of all registered voters feel the country is on the wrong track. And yet, your guy can't break 50%. Now, if I were advising him, I would have said, Donald, you need to bring out regular Donald because your hardcore supporters, they're going to turn up for you no matter what. The same way if I were advising Harris, who I'm not, I just volunteer for her, I would say, like, it's okay if you want to go heavy on how we didn't do a great job on the border and we need to get better. And that, if you could do anything differently, you would have acted on the border earlier because you were overly optimistic about the bipartisan deal. You didn't expect Trump to block it. You wish you had anticipated that. There are answers to these questions. And you can it will piss off some of your activist wing, but you'll win over, hopefully, that 20% of the Republicans that really are uncomfortable with Trump. And Trump had an opportunity to win more of them over. I don't think he has with the way he's been acting. He's kind of letting Trump be Trump, I guess, right? He's not moderating.
But yeah, again, I haven't watched that MSG, rally to compare, and I didn't really watch that All In podcast. So what's this All In podcast? I watched
It's
Joe Rogan. I watched Joe Rogan. I thought that was good.
Joe Rogan. I couldn't make it through. I made it through like half of it, but his weaves just go on. It's like talking to like an old neighbor. Remember our neighbors in Glen Rock, that older couple?
The two sisters or the
no, the other ones, the Archie Bunker one. Yeah.
The ones that didn't like us. We never really had much conversation.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like that's what Trump reminds me of, like kind of grumpy Archie Bunker, talks at length about things, has all these conspiracy theories. And he definitely laid into that character on Rogan, in my opinion. I felt like he was meandering and, not very clear thinking. Like, I think there has been some cognitive decline, as there is with everyone.
I thought that interview was really good, and he handled himself. I mean, like.
Do you think Joe challenged him? Do you think he gave him a hard interview?
I don't think it was a hard interview, but I think it was the fact that he was able to just keep talking for so long. I don't know if Harris would have been able to do that, with her word salads and stuff,
I don't know. Do you think the weave is more coherent than the word salad?
Well, he weaves and he's supposed to get back to the point, talks about different things. But let me ask you,
I felt like Trump sounded like a well-meaning, entertaining old man with a bad memory.
So it seems like there's a big gender gap.
Yes. So Trump is losing women by like 20, 30 points. And he's doing better with men, especially non-college educated men. He's crushing it with them.
So I have my reasons on why that's happening, and it's not just related to the abortion issue. I don't know if anyone's really commented on this because I study, the social dynamics and the sexes a lot. Is that I believe that young women nowadays have better life economically compared to young men, and they have the same benefits, which whatever government gives them. But young women, they have a lot of entitlement. They get a lot of freebies from thirsty guys. And nowadays, a lot of young women, I'm not saying all of them, are making money on TikTok. They're getting attention on Instagram. Some of them are even doing OnlyFans, which you can say is basically pornography. But now it's kind of accepted. Young men don't have those same options. So just look at it from an economic empirical point of view, young women are better off right now than young men. And if it's a young man, especially in the non-college educated, no one's really contacting them on Instagram. If you're some girl in some small town in any state, someone's going to contact you and you're going to feel special. That's not the case for some guy working a blue collar job without a college degree. And they definitely don't have any ability to make money on OnlyFans.
So there's 200 million women in America. You think most of them are on OnlyFans?
Not most of them. I would say maybe 10%.
You think 20 million women are on OnlyFans?
They sign up new creators all the time. I mean, it's huge. I don't have the stats on that. But for women, they definitely get more social media friends connection if they post something up. Like a girl will just post up a picture of her in a bikini and she'll get like hundreds of likes and tons of comments.
What does that have to do with people voting for Trump? I don't
just said that girls are happier. So girls are happier now. They have more, they're economically better off. If you want to say they're making money from social media, they are socially better off because they get, more likes and more followers. If you're a guy, you're kind of disheartened. So on top of the inflation, on top of the job prospects, being good or bad.
Okay, so let me play back what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Your contention is that because some women are getting more attention on social media, that they feel like they're more valued or have better prospects.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
Uh-huh.
that's a given. That they're getting a lot more attention on the dating apps, whether
Okay.
it's like Bumble, Tinder, whatever. Then the average girl gets a lot more attention on social media. Now social media is like a huge part of life than the average guy. So they're
Okay.
happy.
So therefore, your contention is that some of these young men are kind of upset or aggrieved by this sense of unfairness, and the candidate who represents their grievance best is more Trump than Harris, for sure.
So I'm saying that, like we all know, if the economy is good, the incumbent party wins. If you feel good about the economy or your personal economy, you're more likely to vote for the incumbent. So I'm saying that women probably outnumber men in terms of feeling good about themselves, feeling good about them economically, job-wise, blah, blah, blah. So they're more likely to vote for the incumbent. And the incumbent in this case is Harris. Young men, on the other hand, are feeling more economically challenged, are feeling more socially challenged, and they're looking for change.
But don't men make on average more than women?
I'm not saying that for young men, maybe not. I meet young women through my parties that are making more than investment bankers.
Mm-hmm.
And they ain't doing nothing.
Okay. And what percent of the women do you think that the people you meet represents? Like, I would imagine you're in Miami Beach. Like, that's not America.
Well, I meet, again, 90% of the people I meet are from outside of Miami Beach. Most of the, if you watch some videos and stuff. And I would say anywhere from 10 to 20% of those girls are doing some type of social media money-making opportunity. A lot of, I would say actually 20% might be doing OnlyFans. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you're saying 20% of the girls who are in Miami Beach who go on a party boat, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. You're not doing like Mensa Rhodes Scholar events in Miami Beach, right?
No.
That's not the type of clientele you're focusing on. You're not doing a math Olympics competition.
And again, don't use the word clientele because that could be misconstrued. But yes, I know
your
audience or
your friends, your network,
your guests. Yeah.
Okay. Here. So I asked ChatGPT.
Yes. Let's see.
Average income for young American men more than young women. It says women earn 83 cents for every dollar that men make, but focusing on the young, women now earn 90% of what males make. And then the gap widens when the women have children, have to take career breaks.
You should ask ChatGPT how many guys are on OnlyFans and how many girls are on OnlyFans as creators. And you're going to get like 100 women or 1,000 women to one guy.
Okay, let's just assume they're all. How many creators are on OnlyFans?
Yeah.
$2 million. So that's like, even if you assume they were all women, that would
very
be
low.
like 1%.
That sounds very low, bro.
You think there's more than 2 million people on OnlyFans?
Yeah. Also, don't forget these girls. There's girls that aren't doing OnlyFans, but they're making a ton of money on TikTok or Instagram.
Okay. Well, look, I don't think that's new that attractive women have gotten attention. I think that's been going on since like Roman days, maybe more.
Yeah, but they have more ability. Before they were just, limited to their little small town. With social media, your small town girl or your Miami girl all of a sudden goes global.
Okay. And so how does voting for Trump change things for these young men who are upset about women
I'm
getting
just saying
attention?
that take the name Harris, take the word Trump out of it. I'm just saying that young men are less happy economically than young women. And that's my thesis. And so that's why you have that gender gap, in addition to that abortion thing. But that's a huge reason. Like the young men are feeling left behind, if anything.
So do you feel like I could argue that with the overturning of the federal right to abortion, that harmed women a lot more than men?
Yeah, well, that's why you have more women probably voting for Harris, But I'm saying that's not the only thing. That's not the only reason.
Yeah. But in the spirit of like who got the shaft in the last few years, I think women losing the right to determine the outcome of their pregnancy
No, they can
was
still do it.
probably bigger than men being upset that some women are on OnlyFans. I'm sure some men are quite pleased with that.
The women can still do abortions, if it's legal in their state, subject to whatever, time limit and all that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's like me saying to you, like, well, Asians can own property if they're in the right state. Like, come on, man. Like, it's a right. Why should I have to? Why does it matter what state I'm in if I have a right?
A right to abort?
Yeah, to reproductive care. Like,
why do you say it's
care?
reproductive care? It's like pro-life. Basically, when does life begin? It's like,
Yeah, I feel like many MAGA people are very pro-life from conception and then right until birth. And then after that, like, they don't support early pre-K. They don't support public school lunches. They don't support universal basic income. They don't support improving the ACA. Like, why it's all about life, life, life. And then as soon as the baby's born, no more.
because we believe in capitalism. When the baby's born, then the parents and then have to fend for themselves.
All right. So you're basically choosing for the parents then. You, who don't know these people, are like, oh yeah, you're not allowed to terminate the pregnancy, but you damn well better be responsible for the next 18 years.
It was just pushed back to the states. Let the states, decide. Let the people decide.
Wow. Okay.
So what do you think is going to happen? The headlines on Washington Post, New York Times, November 6th. What will be the headlines?
There's going to be two headlines that you could choose from. One headline is that Trump loses due to strong turnout from women and strong suburban voters who previously were supporting Haley, breaking for Harris. And in exit polls, the other number is only 60% of Harris voters were enthusiastic about voting for her, but everyone was enthusiastic about voting against Trump of the people that voted for Harris. So that's headline one. That's the headline I would like to see.
Okay.
And then I will tell you, like, dude, why did you guys nominate Trump? You could have nominated pretty much anyone else, definitely Haley, but maybe even DeSantis. And you would have racked this thing up because 2/3 of the country feels like we're on the wrong track. How can you lose when 2/3 of the country feels you're on the wrong track? The only way is to put up a candidate that alienates 51% of the country, who they feel like is unhinged.
So what's the other headline? Go ahead.
The other headline is that Trump wins historic re-election. I actually think if he wins, it won't be by a hair. I actually think if he wins, it'll be, a significant electoral count, maybe even as similar to 2016. And the big drivers will be young people did not turn out for Harris the way that she needed them to, and really strong turnout from non-college educated white males. And, buckle up. Now we'll see what happens after. Like, I guess he's going to somehow unify Congress and get anything done. I doubt it. But he will definitely try the mass deportation, and it'll be challenged, and it'll go to the Supreme Court, which is a favorable court for him. So, I mean, that's the same court that said a president is immune to any, kind of repercussions. So I don't like that second headline. I would give it like a 53% chance.
So now you're thinking that Trump has a 53% chance
of winning the whole thing. Yeah. I think it's everybody's locked in. So there's probably 90% of the country that's already made up their mind. And then of the 10%, many will stay home because they're just so disgusted. There's a lot of double haters. Not as many as before, but there are a lot of them. And then some Haley voters, they don't like Harris. And they might just hold their nose and pull it for Trump.
Did Haley spoke at Madison Square Garden, right?
No, she's not campaigning with him.
Shit.
Yeah, there's something going on between them, because the obvious move is to roll out Haley the same way Harris has rolled out Cheney.
Yeah.
So you have Cheney trying to win over the kind of real Republicans, like the Reagan Republicans. And Haley speaks to those people, but she's been silent. I mean, she was at the Republican convention, but after that, and I think she said she was willing to campaign for him, but her people said that he hasn't asked. So I think he really doesn't like her and doesn't think he needs her. And if I'm her, I might say, well, what am I going to get in return? Because I might be the difference between you winning and not.
So how was your class? You finished your class with Mom at Stanford is it on elections and stuff? Or?
Yeah, it's called Democracy on the Ballot. The class actually runs past the election. So we're going to talk about the aftermath and, I guess I don't think it runs through Jan 6th, so I'm not sure what the Red Hats will do, if they lose. But yeah, we saw Condoleezza Rice yesterday. She was super impressive, really sharp. We had Hillary Clinton a couple weeks before that. We had Steve Schmidt, one of the campaign managers for, I think, McCain. We had some George W. Campaign managers. So the only thing is we haven't had any like MAGA, which I would find very interesting. Maybe we'll get them on later.
Yeah, maybe you can get Steve Bannon.
Well, isn't he in jail?
He just got out.
Oh, great. Is he going to be on the trail? Is he going to campaign?
Yes, he's starting his podcast tonight.
But he's not going to be. Trump's not going to have him seen in public, is he?
I don't know, but
yeah. I mean, that would be the opposite. Like Steve Bannon is the opposite of Nikki Haley. I don't think you win over a lot of independent, undecided voters or traditional Republicans with Steve Bannon.
Hey, just a quick aside. Have you spoken to our brother Joe in London if he's voting, and what state is he voting in, and which one he voted for or voting for?
I would imagine he would, if he were voting, he would vote in New York, and I don't think he likes Harris. And so he's like, oh, Harris is so crazy. She can't put two sentences together. Word salad, all the MAGA talking points. Oh no. Did you just lose battery, Peter? Dude.
Yeah, I hanged up on that.
Hello?
I hanged up. I'm here. You hear me?
Yeah. So Joe, he was like saying, "Oh, word salad, middle class, whatever," all the shit that the MAGA people to say all the time about Harris. And I said, "Hey, I actually had dinner with a friend of mine who worked directly with Harris for years." And he said that Harris is super sharp, really smart. He worked in the prosecutor's office, like they were locking up criminals, convicting criminals. And Joe was like, "What? Like she locked up criminals?" I was like, "Yeah, she was a prosecutor. That's her job. In fact, that's why she was so unpopular with some Democrats, is that she probably locked up more people than Trump did." But that it's an interesting narrative. Like, I know someone who worked directly with Harris, and I trust that person. Highly educated, super smart person. He's like, "Oh no, she's super smart. She's got her stuff together." And then Joe's like, "Well, but I saw these Instagram videos of her saying crazy things." And I was like, "Look, man, like it's a free country. Like you've got to vote. I can't tell you how to vote, but I'm just telling you, like, I have information that's probably more reliable than what you're finding on the internet. Not to mention, like, we don't know who's behind some of those internet accounts these days, like anybody can create one."
Well, I just think watching her real edited interviews, because I think all of them are kind of edited. I'm not impressed.
Yeah, that is the interesting Rorschach test, because there's some MAGA folks also in my circle of friends outside of you, and they were like, "Oh, Trump like really nailed it in his debate with Harris," and I was like, "What are you talking about? It was like a disaster." And so it's interesting how people can see literally the same information, and come to completely diametrically opposed conclusions.
I don't think he killed the debate, but I think she dies in every interview.
Okay, so at least you agree that he screwed up the debate and he came across unhinged.
He was less strong than during the Biden debate.
Yeah. The Biden debate, he wiped the floor with Biden, but he really didn't have to do anything. He just had to not make a scene and let Biden like implode in front of him, like self-immolation. Right? I mean, it was disaster. I mean, and as you know, what during that debate, I was like, "This is a freaking disaster. This is a disaster."
Right.
So, like, I'm very willing to call a spade a spade. Biden was a terrible candidate, and Harris, she's fine. She's a generic Democrat candidate. She's not completely underqualified, but she's not, amazing. I would think Buttigieg is probably way stronger. But when people say she's never held office, it's like, wait a minute. She was attorney general of I think it's the largest economic power in this country, California.
Mm.
She was the U.S. senator, and she has been the U.S. vice president. To say that she has zero experience is just MAGA talking points.
I do feel that she was a DEI hire for the vice president job, which leads me.
Whatever.
She was the DEI hire for the attorney general.
Oh yeah, was Obama a DEI hire?
Let's not go into that. That's going off topic. But look at
why do you do that? Why do you label people like that? What good is that?
He said that he wanted a certain type of ethnicity and gender.
Well, that's like when Trump said he wanted to bring an evangelical for the Christians, and he brought Mike Pence. Was Mike Pence a DEI hire? Probably. Everybody gets hired for a reason, my friend.
So share with the audience our side bet in Pennsylvania. What was the bet?
We have a bet. I think I pay you $220.
Yep.
If Trump wins Pennsylvania.
Yep.
And you pay me $200 if Harris wins Pennsylvania.
How's that looking?
I think it's probably more even than the odds I gave you, but we made that bet like, when was it? Like 3-4 weeks ago.
Right. So who do you think is going to win? Pennsylvania.
I think Harris is going to win, but it's not going to be by a lot.
You're
I'm
just
betting.
You're just saying that for your audience.
No. I'm betting on late. I've talked to enough Pennsylvania voters that, and I've watched a bunch of Pennsylvania focus groups.
But the polls are definitely in Trump's favor. If I look at the 538 polls,
Well, let's look at it.
and I got to
have the
run
data.
sometime soon. I have a party.
Peter, I have the data.
All right, give me the data.
Okay. So you said that Trump is ahead. And let me share my screen.
Slightly ahead.
Uh, 47.9 to 47.6. I mean, this is basically like one person got a call different, like this is they're tied.
Yeah.
Now, you could argue that, well, Trump always overperforms his polls. I think that is partially true, but I think the pollsters tried to correct for that. And you saw that in 2022 when they went out of their way to get more Trump representation and then predicted a massive red wave. Remember what the poll said? So you could argue that the fact that they're even and maybe the polls overcorrected means that Harris is slightly ahead. My view is that they're probably truly even, and this race will be decided by actually Republicans, not Democrats. It'll be the 20% that don't like Republicans that don't approve of Trump. That's what do you think?
For what? For Pennsylvania?
For the whole thing. Which I gave you my two headlines, and I said it's probably more likely a Trump wins headline, but by like 1 percentage point difference. What do you think?
I think similar. I think it's going to be it's not a given that Trump's going to win, but I also agree with you that if we do win, I do feel that, and just looking at, again, the Fox commentators, I mean, I believe that Arizona has come into our, from a toss-up into our side, and I do believe we're going to get Pennsylvania. I think we're going to get a lot, if not all, of the swing states. So I'm looking at
all of them.
I'm looking at over 300 electoral votes. Yeah. Okay. I was going to actually talk to you about a side bet on that, but whatever. Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's more likely that Trump would win most of the swing states than I think that's like a more likely scenario than him just winning some. Like, I think he's either going to win, let's say, 2 of the 3 blue wall states, or he's not going to win any. Like, I think that it's like one of those things where like you're going to see like a break for Trump at the last minute, or you're going to see a break for Harris.
When will we know the results? Some people are saying that Pennsylvania, like, we'll know the results by 8 p.m. Eastern time or something like that. I don't know.
I don't think that's true because it takes some time to count the mail-in ballots. They got to open each envelope. Like, by law, they're not allowed to touch them until the morning. And it's going to be millions of votes.
The next morning?
Or no, the morning. I think the morning of.
Okay.
So,
where will you be watching elections? At home? I'll be going to a bar with my good friend Susan, who's also Republican.
I will be at home, but our neighborhood is pretty strong blue neighborhood.
Go figure.
Yeah, a lot of graduate education. Highly thoughtful people. But I might be this weekend. I'm going to be in Nevada.
Why?
Because it's even right now, and it's 6 electoral votes, and this thing might come down to the wire.
So you're helping out in Nevada?
Yeah. So I've cut turf in Pennsylvania. I've audited turf in Georgia, and now I'm going to be knocking turf in Nevada.
How did you get involved in all this? Because for the past few election cycles, I've called, left messages, filled out online forms. I want to volunteer for Trump. and never heard back. All they ever do is ask me for money.
Well, I think that is an example of the different strategies that the Republican and Democratic campaigns historically have had. Like the Democratic campaign is very much powered by volunteers, unions, activist organizations, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So they're very good at, you fill out the form, they will say like, okay, can you come and, go to this training 6 p.m. today? Like they're pretty good about that. Whereas I think the Republican Party has traditionally relied on compensated canvassers, like paid, get out the vote. And that's what Musk is doing, which, when a race is this close, like, that kind of AstroTurf that the Republicans do, like that might make the difference. I mean, this thing is going to be decided by a few thousand votes in each state. It's crazy. Okay. So yeah, me and Brandon are going to be knocking on doors for freedom.
Okay.
Are you going to volunteer or no?
No, I'm too busy doing my other stuff. Yeah, I'm moving the boat this week, and then
you got more important things than protecting women's reproductive rights.
For sure on that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, listen. We have 122 people in the live stream, so even though like I didn't even promote this conversation, like you are social media gold, my friend. You want to tell us about Miami Poppin'?
Well, Miami Poppin' is my Instagram brand, so you can view it at Miami Popping with a POPPING. Also, I have right now 127,000 YouTube subscribers.
Ooh, damn!
And
what's the name of the YouTube channel?
Also, Miami Popping.
Okay.
Miami Popping. And I have a TikTok, but that's a little bit different. It's called Bang Yachts.
What's the TikTok called?
Bang Yachts. BANG Yachts.
All right. Well, now I understand why you mentioned your friends are on OnlyFans. Well, look, no matter what, I'm glad you care about this election, and I'm glad we're able to trade perspectives without getting too personal or attacking each other, each other's intelligence or patriotism.
Yeah, I mean, I feel better this conversation than last time. I was a bit depressed in August.
I know. I was kind of gloating a little bit last time. So maybe there's some justice now. But we'll see what happens. I still think we're gonna win. I'm really hoping those Haley voters, I mean, thank God Nikki Haley is not campaigning with him. And it's too late now. Even if she comes out now, like it's too late. I don't think he even wants the independent voters. I think he's made an intentional decision to drive up the base turnout and just screw the Haley people.
Huh.
Because you could tell, like, when he's giving his rallies, he's not even trying to appeal to the centrists, right? So
could be. Well, listen, Tom, always a pleasure talking to you. Wish you and your family all the best. And, I hope that there's no riots after Election Day,
Yeah, I do too, my friend. Let's hope for a peaceful transfer, and the country will get the president that it deserves. And whoever wins, let's hope that person does a great job.
All right, buddy.
All right, my friend.
Peace.
America. All right. Dude, Peter the MAGA brother. Never a dull moment with that guy. I mean, let me give you my closing thoughts on what I learned from talking to Peter in a second. Before I do that, I do want to give a shout out to our channel members, because frankly, I don't know if I would keep making videos if it weren't for knowing that there were these channel members who care enough about the content to help me cover the cost for the streaming software and stuff. So, I'm trying to load this amazing YouTube Studio product, which lists the channel members, and it is not loading. All right. Well, I'm going to try one more second, and if not, I'm just going to give you my closing thoughts, and we'll find another time to give a shout out to the members. But I thank you, members, for everything you guys do. And because I can't load that, I will show you this, which is a list of on my Nerds for Humanity Substack, which is free. Here it is. Share screen. Okay. So I will be doing a Substack about my conversation with Peter. But at the bottom of the Substack, I shout out some of our recent members. Where is it? Here they are. So here are some of our OG members. Kristen Slevin, Soldier One. Soldier One's the highest level member. Bike, and Zig PC. So if YouTube Studio cooperates, oh yes, it does. Finally. Okay, let's do this. Share. And then I'm going to give you guys some music as well, because we're rolling out all of the goodness for you. By the way, all right, there we go. Okay, so, and I think that's good. Can you hear the music? Hopefully you can. We will start with our highest level member of the Nerd Cabinet. Like I said, Soldier One. Thank you, Soldier One. Then we have members of the Nerd Congress. Zig PC, Bike, and Kristen. Kristen's been with us for 57 months. Then we have the Nerd City Council. Gene, David, DK, Jackalego, Mr. History, Mona, Vaughn, Yang, Dean, Galessa, Jay Perrin, Dana, Jason, Daniel, Jeremy, Mickey, Yoda, Jackson, Unkiyu. And then at the entry level, only $1.99 registered nerds in order of length of membership. Thank you to all of you. You guys rock. Okay. So now let's talk about the takeaways from Peter. The first one is his interpretation of men being kind of pissed off, young men being pissed off. Oh, thank you, Lori. You rock. You rock. Thanks for being in the live chat as well. And yes, Lori, I think Peter's interpretation that women have it easy is like, I should have asked him, like, if women have it so easy, would you trade places with women in this society? I don't think that would be to your advantage. I think you get kind of have a lot of disadvantages by a patriarchal society that's getting better every year, but still not quite equal. But one thing I did hear from him was an anger and frustration experienced by young men who are not college educated, who probably don't have a lot, maybe they don't feel like they have a lot of prospects. And Trump's sort of masculine, machismo, I'm gonna like stick it to these elitist, coastal, woke, DEI, blah, blah, blah. Like, I could see why that could appeal to a young man who feels like society is not like fair. I don't agree with it, but I can see why some people may be persuaded to vote that way. The second thing was that I think Peter, he didn't want to admit it, but I think he did agree that the MAGA movement kind of has a ceiling. And if it's unable to reach out to, at a minimum, moderate Republicans, but also undecided, that'll probably cause them to lose, despite the fact that 2/3 of the country feels like the country's on the wrong track. I mean, the fact that it's 65% wrong track and Trump still can't break 50% just tells you a lot about how distasteful he is to a lot of voters. And it's not only like, oh, it's so unfair, the media treats him so badly. Like, he leans into it. Does anybody see him other than like every now and then he'll try and bring out the 1980s sort of Democratic Party Trump, the pro-choice Trump? You know, if you look at his rallies, he's not at all making any effort to appeal to, let's say, blue dog Democrats or moderate Republicans or centrist independents. So, you know, I think that's takeaway two. I think Peter reluctantly, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think when he said, oh, wow, Nikki Haley's not campaigning with Trump, that kind of sucks. So that's takeaway two. Takeaway three from a conversation with Peter is like, he and I had different experiences about the Republican Party approach and how he's tried to volunteer and canvass, and all they do is ask him for more money and ask him to buy, you know, gold shoes or gold-plated Bibles, but they don't want him to help with the way that I was able to help with turf cutting, turf auditing, and now knocking on turf and phone banking, text banking. So the Democratic Party, I think, is pretty good at grassroots kind of get out the vote, like let's all pitch in kind of to get the turnout. I don't think that's really a Republican strength, at least not with the Trump Republican Party. And it kind of makes sense because I think Trump is, you know, at the end of the day, he's the patriarch of a small family business. I mean, it's large in terms of the brand value and the licensing deals he can strike. But like Trump World Headquarters, I think might have like 100-200 employees. It's not like he's CEO of Ford or something. So he may not be really good at execution or organized, sustained activities. And he's more of like a entertainer. So, but in today's world, maybe that's enough. We'll find out. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call out some interesting chats and then we'll wrap up because I've got another stream at 2 Pacific, which is in about 50 minutes with Steve Marchand, who used to be the campaign manager for Andrew Yang in New Hampshire. And we'll talk about how that looks from Steve's point of view. Like, he's definitely a political junkie as well. Okay. Yoda says that you subscribe to the do not whatever you do not follow Peter's lifestyle. It is not in my opinion, the most wholesome, sustainable lifestyle. Like, I don't blame the guy for having a good time. But like, as a father of 2 young boys, like, that's not necessarily the path I'm hoping they take. But it's a free country, and I respect that. Hey, Peter wants to party in Miami with a bunch of young ladies. Like, that's his, that's his right. Yoda saying, yeah, Trump is insulting. He's kind of alienating more and more people. I think it's a call out to, it must be a call out to his base. I think he's given up on the centrists. Tom needs to do a podcast on a yacht. Maybe we'll do it on Peter's yacht. That would be hilarious. I don't know if I would want to be surrounded by Peter's sort of social network. Might be kind of distracting. I prefer the fish. I think it's more calming. But maybe if he twisted my arm, I would record an episode. Let's see. Yeah, Marion, I don't have any yachts on my channel. Maybe in the future. Let's see. Polymarket. Yeah, Polymarket. People should know. I don't even think U.S. citizens are allowed to bet on Polymarket. And even if you did, you only get the money in crypto. So I'm not sure if it's like perfectly representative of what's going to happen. But there are other betting markets that are showing that Trump is ahead. So I'm not suggesting that Trump isn't ahead, but I don't think he's ahead like whatever 60-40 or 70-30 like Polymarket thinks. Let's see. Any other comments? Oh, Elizabeth saying, hey, Obama won his election, therefore not DEI. And so maybe, I guess, Harris, Pence, Vance being appointed were all, I mean, Vance, like, were there any demographic issues with why he was selected? Who knows, right? All right. Jennifer Montgomery says, under Trump's healthcare, men's healthcare will be attacked just like women's. Yeah, I mean, Trump has promised to release very shortly. I think he said in a period of time, he will release the Trump Care plan. And obviously he has concepts of a plan currently. So we'll see how that affects women and men who need healthcare, which is basically everybody. Vaughn says, I would have voted for Youngkin. Yeah, I think if Youngkin, Christie, Haley, frankly, even DeSantis, I think if any of them got the Republican nomination, it would be almost for sure a Republican win. But thank God the Republicans nominated Trump again. I think they'll look back, and if he loses, I think people will say the Republicans blew it. They could have won it with a better nominee. And then if Trump wins, I think the Democrats, we will say Biden should not have waited so long to drop out. He should never have run for re-election to begin with. So anyway, that's some quick closing comments. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Subscribe to my Substack. It's free, nerdsforhumanity.substack.com. You'll get a written summary of all of my long live streams, so when you can't make it live. And then if you couldn't become a member, the next best thing you can do is subscribe and smash the like button, and then share this episode with all of your followers. Like, whether you agree with Peter or not, the dude's entertaining and he's different. So God bless us all. And everybody watching this, please vote. Even if you are in a blue state, vote, because we need a strong popular turnout to cover the scenario where Trump barely wins the electoral count and then claims some gigantic mandate to run roughshod. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye, nerds.